I was born in Fort Worth at Harris Hospital in 1952, and my parents lived in Haltom City, and so grew up there. I don't know how many years we were there, but my dad worked for Swift and Company, and after that he became a salesman, and we traveled. I remember starting school in Abilene, and went a couple of grades there, then moved to Houston, and went through some grades there, and then ended up in Waco, and graduated from high school in Waco in 1970. I have a brother, and he's a couple of years older than I am. I do remember one point in Houston, I really cried. There was a little boy that really liked me, and I cried because we had to leave. And but growing up, I had a great childhood. My parents were just that generation of loving and nurturing and home-cooked meals. My mom was a great cook, and church on Sundays, church on Wednesday nights, and vacations, and just a great childhood. He had always wanted his goal was to come back to the Fort Worth area. So, we knew that, and he, being the sweet dad he was, he waited till I graduated from high school. As soon as I graduated, we came here, and he had a lot of friends in Hurst, so that's how we ended up in Hurst. We didn't even look. There was no looking around. He headed to Hurst. So we started hearing about this place called Hurst, and it was like there was no other choices given. It was like we're going to Hurst. I was happy about it because it seemed like a small town, and it was small town, that small town feel. And the people gave it that, and he already had friends here, so we just had that feeling of already belonging. And I know they did, and they were very, very happy. And, if mom and dad are happy, everybody should be happy. My first funny experience is I thought, well, I'll get a job, and then I'll go to TCJC, now TCC. My dad was telling me about the junior college, and I think it had just opened. And so that was a new campus and a pretty campus. So I had a family member that told me to go get an application at the new Leonard store. And it was brand new. It had just, in fact, we came here in May, and I think it opened had a grand opening in July. So it was brand new, and I always remembered Leonard's from the downtown store and going there as a child and seeing Santa and riding the subway. And that was always a great experience and fun memories. So I thought, well, yeah, I'll just go to work. I'll try to get a job there. And so I went to get an application, and the lady immediately said, there are no jobs. There's no jobs. I said, well, can I just get an application and turn it in, and then maybe something will come available? And she's like, no, we're not giving out any applications because there are no jobs. And so I said, okay. So I left, and then my uncle, who was over all the Leonard personnel stores, he let me know that, I let him know, I said, well, I couldn't get an app, and he said, go back up there and get an application. There'll be one ready for you. So I went back, and she had one ready to go for me, and I ended up working in the personnel office with her, and her name for me from then on out was Little One. So for no jobs and no applications given out, it's who you know sometimes. So that was the case with me, and so I ended up working with her. And then that's where I met a girl that we hired also. Later on, she said, let's go to North Texas and be roommates. So I said, that sounds pretty good. So that's how I ended up at North Texas, and we became roommates and we met at Leonard's Personnel. Went to First Baptist Hearst, and that's where the majority of my friends were. Some also went to North Texas when I went, so I had friendships there. And then I remember some of the things that we did. I told you about CA's restaurant. That was the big place to a great place to eat on Pipeline Road. Seemed like everything was on Pipeline Road then. And the Bel Air Shopping Center and the Bel Air Theater. And I thought of some others. There was the Dairy Queen, which I think became a coffee shop through the years. Dairy Queen, and there was also a Jack Clark's drive-in, and then there was a Connie's Uptown drive-in up on Pipeline. These are all on Pipeline. Watson's, the Leonard's was like the place to shop. That's actually what became Dillard's. And so that was kind of the start of where the mall was going to be. Leonard's, this was their third store, was here in Hearst. Very nice store. Had, I can remember it having a little candy store inside, so you could go and get 50 cents worth of candy. Bell Helicopter was new, and that was huge for Hearst. Even though it's in Fort Worth, we claim it. In the fall of '71, left Hearst, went to North Texas, and so at that point, most of everything I did was in Denton, but I would come back and visit Mom and Dad and my dog, but I spent most of my time up in Denton and graduated and with a business degree in teaching, in secondary teaching and business. The mall started, they started out, I think, first with like 81 shops and then grew from there and ended up taking in some homes, and that became a huge news story. But through the years, it just grew and grew, and then of course the DFW airport was a huge deal for this area. Dad was my inspiration. Both my parents were, but my dad loved people. He never met a stranger. He always could make conversation with anybody and everybody. He got involved in Hearst right off. He was on the park board. He was on the park board for a number of years. He started the Senior Citizens Dinner. That started at Brookside Center, and he had a real love for, as people got older, and sometimes they lose their spouse, they may be alone, or children move away, and he thought that seniors needed something special, and he felt like Christmas time was a good time. So he started that senior dinner, and it started out small. He provided all the food for it, and then my mom decorated the tables, and I'm sure other ladies helped her. And so it just started small, and then, I think they were there for like a couple of years, and then it quickly moved. So many people heard about it, and it was only supposed to be for Hearst citizens, so they moved it to Mary Street, the Hearst Rec Center, and had it in the gym. Just a fun time. There's music, and my sister-in-law my brother's wife used to sing at the very beginning. She had a beautiful voice, so she was the singer. My mom decorated the table. My dad furnished the meat because he was the meat salesman, and so it just grew from there. This year will be the 44th year for that, because fortunately the city, because I know the citizens love it so much and the seniors look forward to that, then they have kept it going, which is a real memory for me and a real honor to my dad. So it became the John Butler Memorial Senior Citizens Banquet. So my dad he started that, and then he was on the park board for a number of years, and then he really was very good about getting other people involved and making sure that people were active in their community. So in 1998, he was Citizen of the Year. So that was a big deal for him. And my mom was more the stay-at-home mom. She had her little groups that, little things that she did. She didn't work, but she was a great stay-at-home mom through the years. But then later, her thing was cooking. So she always, if somebody moved into the neighborhood, it was like, first thing she did is, what kind of pie do you like? What's your favorite pie? She would make them a pie. And the house, I just remember coming home from school, and this was the way it was always through the years, their door was always open. So if somebody rang the doorbell, my mom, she would have pie crust in the freezer. She would pull out the crust, and she would throw together a pie before they left, and they'd have pie and coffee. Or if dinner was on the table, it's come join us. We've got enough for for whoever was at the door. So they just had friends like that where the door was open. Everybody that was around him was involved in some part of the city. So Bill McClendon was city council, but he started out on the park board. So it was almost like my dad encouraged people, get on the park board, do something in your city, do something for the community. So I ended up being on council with Bill McClendon, who had been at our house many times, and I think he was also in the grocery business because he knew my dad, and Bill McClendon and Charles Swearingen was also on the council. I think he had been on the park board. Some of these guys probably had been on other boards too, but I always remember from the park board my dad talking about. And then Bill Souter, I know my dad would campaign for him every year. So he thought Bill Souter was just great. Those people, to see them still active and of that generation where they're so loyal and so committed, those are people that inspire me because I love that generation. A lot of them served. My dad was in the Navy, and so a lot of them served our country, and they held our country in high regards. A lot of appreciation for people that served, and then they felt like they needed to come back home and do their part. So graduated from North Texas, and then fast forward through the years, I had married and 2 daughters, and I taught in Burrillville ISD, taught elementary school, taught 3rd grade for a number of years, and then went into their reading program. So I worked with dyslexic children and did that, retired in 2016. And I taught for 28 years and loved every minute of it. It was difficult to retire, to give it up, but decided to do something different. And so I went in real estate with my nephew. He's in Dallas, but I do real estate in Tarrant County. Lost my oldest daughter in 2019 to cancer, and my youngest daughter lives outside of Weatherford. Have 5 grandchildren, 4 girls and 1 little boy, and he's not little anymore. He's going into high school this year. When I came back to Hurst, I was thrilled to be in Hurst again, and it was a neat feeling to be back at my parents' house. And I redid it to be me, but always felt their presence around me and a lot of the memories of course, always having great meals at my mom at the house and with my mom cooking. And then, so when I retired in 2016, then that's when I got on the park board. We redid some of the parks, updated some of the playground equipment, and of course every year got ready for we started planning for the senior banquet, and it was great to be a part of that, not just hearing about it, but actually being a part of it. And then the Christmas tree lighting, all their activities were just always above and beyond. I mean, Hearst, in anything they do, whether it's the Easter egg hunt or the tree lighting, the senior banquet, Stars and Stripes. I mean, people come from all over. It's one of the best shows around. They just do it well. I mean, I really think we outdo the other cities in the events that we have, which all come through the park board. And I think because the staff is just top of the line. Staff all across the city, but yeah, we've always had a great park board staff. The library, I know through the years, I remember when it started out small at, I think it was over off Mary Street, and then we have a beautiful library. And then 2019, my daughter that I lost to cancer, she got to see me sworn in at the city council in 2019. So this is my fifth year on the city council. I had been a part of the Hearst Citizens Fire Academy, the Hearst Citizens Police Academy, and I was in the first class of Hearst 101. And so all of that kind of gives you an overview of how the city is run in different departments, and Hearst 101 was a great class to really see how every department runs. And after doing that, I really became interested in and thought I wouldn't mind being on city council. It was neat to get on there. I felt like my dad would be very proud that I immediately got involved and kind of followed him on the park board. He never ran for city council, and I don't know why he didn't, but I know he would be proud. On city council, we've done some really neat things, taking care of the seniors again, which with the more affordable apartments. So we have Heritage Village, but we have since built a new one, and that's off of Pipeline near, not far from the rec center there. Beautiful facilities. The newest one off of Pipeline has a beautiful outdoor swimming pool, and they both have little workout centers and little reading rooms, and just a full kitchen if you want to have guests. Also, we approved a veterans affordable housing, which is over off Highway 10. And we have beautiful, beautiful dog park, which that was one of the things that people really wanted when I was on the park board, but nobody wanted it next door to them. So finding just the right place for that dog park was a challenge. We kind of joined with the college on that. So if they're teaching vet, maybe students that want to be veterinarians, they have joined with the dog park. So they have classes there, and that's a beautiful place. Being on the council is like a voice for the citizens. We have a lot of information out there on the websites, but a lot of times people don't get on that website, or even if they do, they just want to ask a question. They just want to say, I mean, sometimes maybe it's a complaint, but it's just somebody, they need to be heard. And so that way, you can connect with people and you can just find out an answer. That was a real challenge for all people in all cities. One of the great things is how this city is run. We have great staff. There were a lot of long days at City Hall. I know the mayor put in a lot of extra time working with the city manager, and also when all the businesses were shut down. That's a real concern. And will businesses last? Will they make it through this? Will the mall endure being shut down? We had projected kind of the worst, but the worst didn't happen. So we were very fortunate there. I'm not going to say, our revenue didn't go down, but we were able to survive through it, and pretty well. The sad thing was just were the lives lost during all that, but Hearst rose to the occasion again, because out of the conference center, that was another one. People started canceling all of the activities that they had planned to do at the conference center, and then all that went away. So, but Tarrant County set up a vaccination site, and that became it was very well organized. I mean, everybody that got their vaccinations there talked about how organized and how smooth that went. So, see, Hearst, we rise to it. We just barrel through it and rise to the occasion, which is a lot we owe to our staff and our workers, and a council that works well together. The people at this senior center took it very, very hard. A lot of them, by themselves, at home, no social life, just shut in, and they looked forward to their social time at this senior center. I drive through here when it was closed, and there were a group of ladies, all brought their little lawn chairs, setting up out under the covered area in the front, the drop-off, and one would be knitting, one would have another, might be reading a book, but they were all there, a whole group of them sitting in a circle just visiting and being together. They distanced, they had a little distance, they were outside, they had their mask on, but they were there. And then the same way, early in the morning, a group of guys would go to the back porch and sit and bring burritos and their coffee, and they still are continuing to meet today, that group of them. I would not run for city council in any other place. We make it a point to not run on a political agenda, very nonpartisan, and so those things, that's the way it should be. We're there for the citizens, no matter what their beliefs, to listen to them, our small businesses, our parks, our library, all the events that we have year after year. Coming back to Hearst did feel like home. It absolutely, and yes, I did come back to my parents' home, but and I had never lived at that particular house, but it felt like coming home. And I knew at that point, coming back here, I knew I wanted to be involved. And I knew I wanted to do what my parents had done, and that was to get involved, meet more citizens, be around still some of the people that were left that were their friends, and so it was like coming home. It's a good feeling. I could have moved anywhere, and I looked outside of Austin. I looked near Fredericksburg because I was just gonna, move away. And every time I'd go look, I'd be pulled back here. And so I mean, this is where I'm supposed to be.